Am I supposed to be done?
We can keep going.
Okay, we'll go a few more minutes. If anyone wants to leave, I am not going to be offended, okay? If you've got something else to go to, but I'll do a few more questions just because you guys got a ton of questions, and over here someone's, yeah.
One, I'd like to defend my right to criticize Booker's crap on a specific level.
Okay.
So I can say, this, I don't care about any of these characters, or I think this prose is terrible, or I think this setting is boring. I think that's something that
If the author is trying to accomplish something and you think they're doing a terrible job of it, that's different from saying, this is not the type of writing I like, therefore all types of books like this are crap.
And my second point, I met the most of many here probably, that I was introduced to Aragon first, and then I started reading Anne McCaffrey. And so I saw Anne McCaffrey's, yeah, I've seen this before.
Right.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that, but it's not that amazing.
Yeah.
And it was only once I really understood, wait, she did this false.
Yeah. Well, it's the old,
just like Aragon.
the urban legend in science fiction fans community, you may have heard it told you by one of your friends, it is urban lore about the, some friend of a friend who comes and says, man, this Tolkien guy is a total hack, he copied Terry Brooks. It's that sort of thing. It happens in gaming quarters too, the whole. This Warhammer is totally a copy of World of Warcraft. So anyway, yeah. All right, other questions right here, and then we'll go back over here.
Going back to the point of you're talking about movies with your books, and then also about how Hollywood does certain things to things to try and make them sell.
Yes.
I'm wondering what your opinion on what they're going to, if they're going to do that kind of thing to your book. How do you keep a good movie, make a good movie out of a good book?
You should talk to Holly about this because she got a movie and it actually turned out pretty well. Which is, I mean, if you haven't seen the Spiderwick movie, it's a pretty good movie, and it's pretty faithful. Fairly. And so I don't know how she did it, though she kind of implied she just got lucky. Is that what it is? But basically, as an author, you have two options. You either take the money or not. And they will become, Hollywood has a lot of money. And what is small change to them is, an author's, 3 years living expenses to us. Movies make a lot more money. And they do this thing called optioning, where they come to you and say, we're thinking about maybe wanting to make a movie out of your book, but we have to secure financing, and we have to secure people working on it, we have to have a good screenplay first, so we want to option it, which is we'll give you a contract, and then we'll pay you 10% every 18 months or every year, depending on the contract, of the buyout price until we decide either to make the movie and pay you the rest, or to just drop it and not continue. And so they will come and snatch up rights and pay you, thousands of dollars every year to do nothing, which authors are like, I need to eat. Yes, money for nothing. Yes, please. But normally to sign these contracts, for Hollywood to make a movie, they to secure those investors. The investors need to know that they have complete creative control, that they can nix certain things that they need to. Otherwise, they're going to be too timid to come in on board. And so because of that, to get a director on board, a director doesn't really want to get on board unless they know they have creative control and can change things. And so because of these things, leaving an author with creative control usually means no film. Orson Scott Card has had Ender's Game optioned numerous times and has normally retained a lot of creative control, and from what I've heard, the reason there's no Ender's Game movie is because people are too skittish to be involved when the author has the creative control, because the director isn't going to, say, I'm not going to direct a film unless I can change what I want to change. And there are a lot of very creative people, a lot of good people trying to tell great stories in Hollywood, but there's also a lot of people who are in it just for the money, which doesn't happen in New York very often because there is no money. Because, books don't make a lot of money compared to a lot of other entertainment mediums. And so because of that, a lot of hands, start mixing in the pot, and people want to be attached just to have their name attached to a popular film. And, if you want to read some, what happens, read an essay called Building the Bomb by Terry Rossio. He's got it on his website. Terry Gross is a famous screenwriter. He wrote Aladdin. He wrote Pirates of the Caribbean. He wrote quite a number of really great films. He's a very good screenwriter. There's a lot of great advice. And he actually wanted to make a film of, I believe it was The Puppet Masters, a Heinlein classic. And that movie did come out, and it was terrible. And he steps you through him trying to get a movie made, getting it optioned, then writing the screenplay, and then how many people came on and rewrote his screenplay in order to have their hands and fingers in the pot and to get their name attached to something they never thought was going to be big, and how they tossed out screenplays and wrote new ones because now the producer's niece has rewritten the screenplay and they know it's terrible, but they can't just revert back to the previous screenplay because to do that is to say to her, yours was and so they'll just commission someone else to rewrite it again, because that's just what happens. You write, so that then you start with this new crappy screenplay. It gets rewritten a few times and starts being good, but then someone else rewrites it poorly. Read that essay. Basically, how do you make sure a good film comes out? You really can't. You hope that a really good director with a good vision gets attached, and a producer with a good vision, and that they work to create this collaboration. It's amazing we get any good films made because of this whole thing I was talking about, plus the fact there's got to be so many people involved. It's like, some of them turn out poorly, not because anyone involved was doing a poor job, but because coordinating all of this is really tough. I think of The Golden Compass, for instance. The Golden Compass should have been a great movie. It really should have. It had great special effects. The casting was really inspired. These were genius casting moves, if you read the book. The marketing behind it was great, and the screenplay was incredibly faithful. The problem ended up being the screenplay was too faithful. And because of that, they didn't have, a book takes a lot more time than a film. And so, in order to cram in everything that was in the book, they had to essentially just have people stand up and say, give a big explanation of who they are and then sit down over and over again in order to get all of this in, trying to use as much from the book as possible. And it ended up to be boring. Just so dull and boring that nobody liked the film, which is a real tragedy. Nobody in that film, they all seemed to be putting their heart into it, and the producers had a screenplay that was, really close to the book. It should have been a great film, and it was terrible. In that case, I don't think it's the fault of anyone, trying to get on board or anything like that. I think it's just that the pieces just didn't come together. So there's nothing really you can do. But the thing to remember is I once remember reading an author, and I don't remember who it is, an essay or an interview where someone asked what they thought of the terrible movie. They say, so. What do you? This terrible movie came out, and what do you think of what they did to your book? And he said, my book is right there, on the shelf. My book is the same it's always been, and a terrible movie drives more people to read my book than no movie at all. And so he is pleased that there was a movie, even a bad one, because more people read his book. And I kind of have to take that opinion. It's either that or not sell the rights about it. All right, right here.
So, are any of your books anywhere in this process?
My children's books, I optioned to DreamWorks Animation. Went through a full 3-year option, actually a full 3-year and then a 6-month extension. And in the end, they decided not to make it. Which, I'm sad about, but they also paid me 3.5 years worth of option money. From a major studio, which is a lot of option money, to not make my film. And so, I'm sad. I think DreamWorks Animation, they've been doing some really great stuff lately. How to Train Your Dragon was beautiful. And I was really excited.